Hello everybody. This is the grand finals of the Season 17 Brawl Hub League. From the winners bracket we have MathemaTiGer piloting his Crucias Titan of the Waves deck, and from the losers bracket we have Dajolla piloting Winota Joiner Forces. They're both very, very strong players, and they both won a previous season of the Brawl Hub League. MathemaTiGer has 2 trophies under his belt. Dajolla has 1. Mathema did it with his Crucias deck, and Dajolla won with Nadu back when it was legal for the 1 season before it was banned. So let's get into the game. So it looks like Mathema starts with the tap land. He's got a couple options for turn 2 play, couple 3 pieces of removal. On Dajolla's side, we have Selfless Savior, turn 1, Regal Bunnycorn, turn 2. Looks like he's got Race the Alarm, Tide Taker, Legion's Landing, bunch of small creatures, and he's got the Wandering Rescuer. It's a new card from Duskborn. So now Dajolla is just trying to decide what he wants to play right now. He just wants to fill up the board and just go straight for Mathema's life total right now. He's just trying to figure out what's the best play. Mathema's probably got some removal ready, so he's just trying to decide which one he wants to run out first. Tide Taker is pretty good because it's got Afterlife, so if it dies, it'll make a token on when it dies. So he uses the Edict. He can choose to get rid of the Bunnycorn, which is a bigger creature, or the Selfless Savior, which can protect his commander later in the game. So he opts to choose the Selfless Savior, and hoping to help Winota get an attack in later in the game. Now Mathema, he could play a land and then play out Lelia and attack, and that would be a 3/3, and it wouldn't be able. Dajolla wouldn't be able to block it. He could also play a Kolaghan's Command, but that doesn't do too much. It'll get rid of 1 creature and make him discard a card, but he's still got to put some stuff on the board. So he opts to play Crucias and discards Lelia to get 1 of his 4 drops. So the way MathemaTiGer's Crucias deck works is he's got a lot of very efficient and powerful 1, 2, and 3 mana cost spells, and he's got 3 very specific 4 mana cost spells in his deck, which is Beseech and the One Ring and Shieldred. The One Ring and Shieldred is a very powerful combo used together, and the Beseech can be used to find them. So Crucias, when he discards a card, you can pull out a card from your deck that's of a higher mana value. So he wants to discard 3 mana value cards and find his Shieldred and One Ring combo. Alright, so he's drawn a Deep Cavern Bat. He can use that to take a look at the opponent's hand and try to figure out his game plan from here. He's got plenty of removal, so he's not too in danger from dying. He's just trying to decide if I want to remove these now, or if I want to take a look at his hand and plan ahead. Dajolla is still looking for his 4th land so he can play Winota. He's got that Selfless Savior to protect Winota to help him get a trigger off. I think that's going to be what makes or breaks this game. That's going to be the difference. So whether Winota can get his attacks off against the Crucias deck. The Crucias deck has lots of removal, and Winota's going to be his #1 targets. He's going to be waiting for that to hit the board, and he's going to try to remove it as fast as possible. Winota, in case you don't know her ability, as whenever a non-human creature attacks, you can look at the top 6 cards of your library and put a human into play attacking. So the Winota players look into attack with several small non-humans and then try to flip off some very large and powerful humans from the top of the deck. And a lot of those humans can double the damage of your attackers. So oftentimes just one attack is often enough to end the game. So Mathema uses his Shatter Skull summoning to take out two creatures with 1 card. Whoops. Discards his Caustic Bronco and not sure what he got. I think it's the Bloodstained Mire. So he's got a 4th land, some removal, another creature. He's looking okay. He's looking to just survive and make sure Winota doesn't get any triggers off. And the Crucias player has a better late game. He can just play the 1 ring as Shieldred and just draw cards and gain life forever. And so Dajolla is trying to end the game before that happens. So Dajolla plays out Allegiance Landing and passes with 3 mana up. Doesn't look like he has much that he can do. He's got to raise the alarm, so he's going to play that on the opponent's turn. MathemaTiGer is thinking about playing a Deep Cavern Bat to take a look at the opponent's hand. That's going to cause Dajolla to cast a raise the alarm in response so it doesn't get taken. I think he's just deciding if he wants to cast it. If he wants to maybe let Crucias try to take the raise the alarm and keep the Wandering Rescuer for later. But there's no guarantee that you can even cast it later. So he just opts to go for the safe play. Plays out the raise the alarm, Deep Cavern Bat takes the Wandering Rescuer. So now Winota is empty-handed. He's going to play out his Winota next turn and try to protect it with the Selfless Savior, and Crucias is going to attempt to stop it. So it looks like he can Kolaghan's Command. Or no, he's playing NT instead. So he plays NT and passes. Oh, that's cool. When you discard a card, NT will let you play a card from the top of your library, I believe, until the next turn. So he's kind of like getting a card back. All right, so this is make or break time. Let's see what happens. The Selfless Savior is going to protect Winota, but Selfless Savior does not protect from Dismember. I totally missed that. Becomes a -1/-1 creature and dies. Indestructibility does not save against that. So very, very good play from MathemaTiGer. So now Dajolla's just got a board full of 1/1s and he needs 2 more lands to play a Winota. And now Crucias is setting up to play his 1-ring combo, and he can, next turn he can go and find his Shieldred to follow it up with. Though he might not play it immediately because his life total is getting a little low. He's attacking now. He probably doesn't want to block with the bat because he'll get the 1-ring rescuer back. He probably doesn't want to block with Crucias either. So he blocks 1, takes 2. Dajolla plays 1-drop 2/2, which is might not be enough here. Dajolla's Adanto landing flipped into the Adanto, the first fort, so that's very good. That's another land for him. He just needs 1 more land to replay Winota. He can also create 1/1 tokens off that land. So Mathema has drawn Tenacious Underdog, which is probably not going to do much here. He's probably going to discard it for something else. Oh, very cool. He puts a 1/1 counter in the Deep Cavern Bat. Does it have lifelink? It does. And now it's a 2/2, so it can block that spirit without dying. So now he can play a land from exile. And he can play the 1-ring. He's got plenty of mana, and he can draw more cards. He's doing very well. He chooses to play the 1-ring. He can draw some cards. Most likely he's going to discard the Kolagun's command to find the Shieldred. Beseech has already been found, so Shieldred is the last 4-drop in the deck. He could also just discard the Inquisition because that's pretty useless right now. Dajolla's totally empty-handed. And he discards cards too, so he's discarding and drawing twice a turn. So he chooses to discard the Inquisition of Kozilek, finds a Boggart Trawler, which exiles the opponent's graveyard. Not too relevant in this matchup. And he exiles a Go for the Throat from the top of the deck, which is going to be very good. That destroys a non-artifact creature, so that'll destroy Winota. And he's got 2 treasures to play it. Unfortunately, Dajolla draws another 1-drop. He gets a Bowmat Courier, so he attacks with it, and he's going to sacrifice it to draw a card. And he draws a land. So he can activate the Adanto Fort this turn and play Winota next turn. But I'm not sure if that's going to be enough. MathemaTiGer has the removal to deal with it. He has Unholy Heat and a Kolgun's command to take care of the Savior now, and the Go for the Throat is going to go away. The Unholy Heat has Delirium, so it does 6 damage. So that should be enough to kill Winota, but he still needs to get this Selfless Savior out of the way. He's got the One Ring. He can activate that to draw 2 cards. Then he'll take 2 damage on his next upkeep and his life is getting a little low. He's thinking about casting Beseech. He could sacrifice his treasure and that'll fetch Shieldred and put on the battlefield. MathemaTiGer's a very slow and methodical player. He's just weighing all his options right now. Trying to decide which is the safest one and which one gives him the highest probability to win. So he attacks with Deep Cavern Bat, NT discards Boggart Trawler, puts another +1 counter on the bat. Dajolla opts to block with it. Block with his 1/1 Spirit. Maybe. Still think about it. Yeah, he blocks the bat with the 1/1 Spirit. Unfortunately, the bat gained trample from NT's trigger, so he'll still dealt 2 damage to the face. NT exhaled Dark Confidant. He plays Go for the Throat on Selfless Savior. I need to look up how NT works after this game. Doesn't seem like those cards are going away. So he drew a Tomacool Phoenix, which is a flying haste attacker, which is pretty good. But he doesn't really need it right now. He's not really racing. Discards it to find his Shieldred, finally. Dajolla draws another land. Plays Winota, he's going to try to get an attack off, but MathemaTiGer has Unholy Heat ready. Winota's gonna eat a fireball. That's gonna be pretty hard for him to come back from this game. If he draws another land next turn, he could replay Winota and maybe get another attack in. And if MathemaTiGer doesn't have some removal, he might be able to get some more creatures on the board from the Winota trigger. But he can. MathemaTiGer can just activate the One Ring next turn and draw 3 cards. So a pretty good chance he'll find something. Even if he doesn't, he's going to have this One Ring and Shieldred combo set up, and it's just going to be drawing cards and gaining life. It's going to be really hard to deal with, even in the best case scenario for Dajolla. So he attacks with the 2/2 Isamaru, trying to force a block, either NT or Crucias. MathemaTiGer chooses to block with Crucias to preserve his life total. And then he casts Kolaghan's Command to bring the Crucias back from his graveyard to his hand. So he doesn't need to replay it from the command zone. Now MathemaTiGer's got a ton of lands. He can play Shieldred and Crucias on the same turn. and still have 3 treasures left over. He's gonna draw 3 cards from the One Ring. Two discard spells, which are not doing anything right now, and Magda the Horde Master. Just a 2-mana creature is not too impactful. Does something with treasures. I think you can sacrifice treasures to make a dragon. Sacrifice 3 treasures, make a 4/4 dragon. He does have 3 treasures, so that is an option. He's gonna attack with the Deep Cavern Bat again. Discard his useless discard spells. Make the bat a 4/4. 4/4 lifelink is really bad for Dajolla. He's gained like 10 life already. Yeah, any life gain is really hard to deal with for these Bordo Agros decks because they're just trying to count up to 25. And now Mathema is being slow and methodical again, just trying to decide what gives him the highest probability of winning and the lowest probability of losing. He's gonna choose to use up all his treasures and just play out his Sheoldred Crucias and then play out Fable of Mirror Breaker using the treasures. So Crucias discards his Thoughtseize. And finds Blood Moon, but it's over. Dajolla draws Rabbit Battery, 1-mana creature. It's not going to help, and he calls it. Alright, now Dajolla's going to be going first. Let's see if he's going to be able to attack with Winota. MathemaTiGer's going to be looking out for that. But maybe Dajolla can overwhelm him with a fast start. So, Dajolla's opening hand, he's got a 1-drop, no 2-drop. He's got a 3-drop. No non-human except the beast token that Toby makes. And he's got a 5-drop creature, which is not really relevant. He just decides to keep the hand, because Guide of Souls is pretty strong turn 1 play. MathemaTiGer, he's got no turn 1 spell. He's got a couple 2-mana creatures that can draw cards at the cost of life, but they can also block, which is the more important thing. He's got a Cackling Observer to loot the opponent's hand and steal a card, but it's not a good blocker. Unlicensed Hearse to exile cards from the graveyard, but that's not going to be very relevant here. It's going to be hard to get it big enough to block a creature. And you need a creature to crew it too, which probably Crucias can do later. He's got Dismember, which is good. That's a good removal spell. Last game, Dismember won him the game because it was able to remove Winota through the Selfless Savior protection. So he's going to be saving that for when Winota comes down the first time. So he draws a Grim Lavamancer, which is also an option that he could play if he just needs a blocker, but it can't block his Guide of Souls and kill it like a Cossack Bronco can. Well, actually it's a 1/1, it can't block at all. Caustic Bronco has the highest stats, so he's considering throwing that out. Dark Confidant's 2-1, it'll die to Guide of Souls. Although maybe he wants to save these for later. But he needs to play out some creature this turn. Hearses doesn't really do much. Alright, Dajolla draws a Raise the Alarm, which would have been really nice last turn. So he's up to 3 mana now, he's going to play out his 3-drop. Makes a 4/4 beast token that can't attack alone. Guide of Souls gains 2 life and makes 2 energy. 1 more creature and you can give a creature flying. And a +1 counter, I think. So that's just 1 more creature that he'll need to expend removal on before Winota hits the battlefield. So next turn he just looks like he drew land, I think. He just opts to play Crucias. Discards a Crackling Observer. He doesn't really need to discard cards. That's good against, he wants that against control decks, and it's a bad blocker too, so he gets rid of it. And he finds Beseech the Mirror. I think he was hoping for either the One Ring or Shieldred. So Winota comes down and he instantly pulls the trigger on Dismember to get rid of Winota. But still gets the Guide of Souls trigger, so now he can attack with his 4/4, but he can't attack alone, so he's going to give one of his creatures flying with the Guide of Souls. And he's attacking with Toby too, because I don't think MathemaTiGer really wants to block with his 1 toughness creatures, so trading one of his creatures for a 1/1 is a good trade for Dajolla. So now MathemaTiGer just has to decide how much of his life total he wants to preserve. Grim Lavamancer will come in handy later. You can activate that to destroy small creatures like Toby, the 1/1. You can pay 1 red, tap Grim Lavamancer, exile 2 cards from your graveyard to shock something. But he's going to choose to use the Lavamancer to block the 4/4. And preserve his life total. Oh, nice. MathemaTiGer draws an Unearth, which is a very nice draw. He can return up to a 3 mana value creature from his graveyard to his to the battlefield. So it's like paying 1 mana for a 3 mana creature. It's sort of like a Dark Ritual. It's a pretty strong tempo play. Plus, just bringing anything back from the graveyard like that Grim Lavamancer that just died is pretty good. He can also block with a Crucias, trade for something, and bring Crucias back. So now he's got 4 mana. He's trying to decide what he wants to do. He doesn't have anything to bargain for Beseech, so that doesn't look very attractive right now. So he plays out his 2 1-drops. Dark Confidant is going to drain some life, so that's going to hurt. He needs to be careful with that. Discards the hearse and he finds a land off of it. Ooh. So Dajolla draws Adeline, which is a very good draw. It's going to put a ton of pressure on MathemaTiGer. And he plays out an Esper Sentinel. This token that Adeline is going to create right now is going to make another energy for Guide of Souls. And he pays uses a Guide of Souls ability to pay 3 energy to put 2+1 counters and a flying counter on the 4/4 beast, making it very hard to block. So now he's got 9 flying damage in the air. MathemaTiGer takes a bunch of damage and he's down to 5 life. It's a very, very strong board from Dajolla. MathemaTiGer draws a Blood Moon and he calls GG. So now the score is 1-1. Going to game 3. Now remember, since Dajolla is coming from the loser's bracket, he'll need to win 2 best-of-3s to win the championship, to win the tournament. Since MathemaTiGer has not lost a match yet, coming from the winner's bracket. Alright, so MathemaTiGer is going first. He's got a 2-land hand with a discard spell on turn 1. And he just plays a land and passes. On Dajolla's side, he's got 3 lands. He's got a 1, 2, and 3 drop. He can curve out very nicely. That's pretty good. Pretty good starting hand. He's also got a Skyclave Apparition to remove one of MathemaTiGer's problematic permanents. Probably the Crucias. He plays out the Adanto Vanguard. Mathema plays out his Misery Shadow on his turn. Now turn 3, he just plays he draws another land, which is good, and plays out Crucias. Let's see what he discards. I think he's looking for another land. He might discard a 1-drop. Discards his 3-mana creature to find a 4-drop, and he finds Children, which is pretty good. It's going to be able to block a lot of things. It's going to gain him life if it sticks on the board. Alright. Dajolla opts to attack first before playing anything. Adanto Vanguard, you can pay 4 life to make it indestructible, so you can't really block it efficiently. So he plays out a 3rd land, and he opts to go for board presence, and he plays Toby, Beastie Befriender, and makes a 4/4 token that can't attack alone. Total of 5/5 stats on a 3-mana card. Now MathemaTiGer, he's drawn a tap land, which is not so good, but he's got a treasure, so he's still got enough mana to cast Shieldred. So Shieldred's gonna help him stabilize. It's big enough to block anything that Dajolla has, and it'll gain him life over time. So now Crucias is discarding his discard spell, which is not going to be very useful right now. He's just trying to survive, and that can only target non-creatures, and Dajolla is playing all creatures. So it looks like he discards that to find a land, and Dajolla draws his Boromir, and he chooses. He plays a Cave of the Frost Dragon, which comes into play tapped, so he's only got 3 mana this turn. He chooses to play Skyclave Apparition. It's a very, very good play. Can get rid of Shieldred permanently. So now Now Dajolla's got the opportunity to get some good attacks in. Misery Shadow's not that big without investing mana into it to pump it. Crucias only has 1 toughness, he doesn't want to block with that. Looks like MathemaTiGer does have a fatal push in his hand. If he sacrifices the treasure, that'll let him destroy a creature up to 4 mana value. And it looks like he was just hovering over Winota. Looks like he's worried about Winota. He might want to save the fatal push for Winota. He could also use Blot Out against Winota. That'll force them to sacrifice their highest mana value creature. But that costs 2 extra mana. So he blocks the Adanto Vanguard with the Misery Shadow to preserve his life total. Adanto Vanguard pays 4 life, becomes indestructible, and he blocks the 4/4 beast with Crucias. So he takes no damage, he's still at 21, but his board is empty now. He's got to rebuild. He draws a Phoenix of Ash. 2/2 Flying Haste, I think. That can come back from the graveyard. He can cast Beseech, he's got a treasure token that he can bargain. His land is highlighted. That could be an artifact land. Interesting. And he pays 1 for the Esper Sentinel. And he pulls out a Toxic Deluge. Very nice. That'll clear the board. Skyclave Apparition leaving will give him a 4/4 token. So now Dajolla's got to rebuild. He plays 2 drops. And they're both humans, so they won't trigger Winota. The other 2 cards in his hand are also humans. 3-drop Boromir and 5-drop Cerise. If he draws a land next turn, maybe he could play Cerise. But let's see. Okay, so MathemaTiGer just draws 1 ring naturally. That'll buy you a turn with the protection effect. They can't attack you or deal damage to you. It'll help him draw cards later, but he's already used his Shieldred and his Beseech, so he can't get rid of it very easily once he's put a few counters on it. So now he's got 2 removal spells and 2 kind of weak creatures that can't really block very well. And he's got this 4/4, which is going to help him a lot. So at the end step, Crucias discards the Phoenix, which can come back from the graveyard later. For it, he looks for a lower cost spell, probably looking for a removal spell. Unfortunately, he finds Duress, which is not very useful right now. Looks like Dajolla drew land, and he's just thinking about which creature he wants to play. Cerise is the strongest creature right now. I think he's just worried that Cerise would eat a removal spell and die immediately on MathemaTiGer's next turn. But If Cerise is able to attack and trigger this once, this is going to be really bad for MathemaTiGer. He's already struggling to keep up with the amount of threats that Dajolla is putting on the board. So he opts just to play his strongest creature and hope for the best. Now, MathemaTiGer, he draws a land. So still not much going on in his hand. Still got 2 removal spells, so I don't think the Cerise is going to be too threatening right now. And these 2/2s can't really block, or they can't really attack through the 4/4 token. So it's kind of at a standstill right now. So MathemaTiGer is thinking about saving them, just playing a removal later, playing the 1 ring now, and looking for more cards right now. Looking for more blockers and removal spells. Now the Thalia is making things pretty difficult. All of his removal spells cost 1 extra. So playing a Fatal Push and a Blot Out together takes his entire mana pool. Oh, I see. The Grand Abolisher makes it so you can't cast removal spells on Dajolla's turn. So that's a big problem. Thalia making things more expensive is also a problem. Cerise is really threatening to crash into MathemaTiGer's life total next turn and draw another card. Cerise draws a card every time she gets to attack and deal damage, so that's going to help him grind out MathemaTiGer. So he's still thinking about what to target with the Fatal Push. Thalia is annoying, but the Grand Abolisher is also a big problem, because when Winota comes down, he won't be able to remove it. Luckily, all 3 of his creatures are humans right now, so Winota won't get a trigger off, even if he does attack with Winota on the board. So Dajolla, his last card is Boromir, which he can sacrifice it to give another creature indestructible. Or all his creatures, actually. So Mathema passes the combat phase and then finally decides to play Fatal Push on Thalia. He's going to discard his Duress, which is pretty useless right now. Find something greater. He finds a Dark Confidant, which is not it's okay right now, not too good, because it'll draw cards in exchange for life, which he's already doing with the 1 ring. If he pays any more life, he's probably going to kill himself. Dajolla draws Angrath's Marauders, 7-drop human, which is not what he's looking for right now. So he just plays out the Boromir, which is his only play. I guess he could play Winota, but if Winota dies, the commander tax is going to make winning this game pretty hard. So Mathema activates the 1 ring, he draws Galvanic Discharge, another Goyf. He's got a Bone Crusher Giant and Rahilda, 2/2 first striker. Plays the Bone Crusher Giant to remove Grand Abolisher. So now he's not locked out of playing spells on his opponent's turn. Galvanic Discharge for 3 damage. It is not nerfed like it is in Q. Alright, so Crucias plays 3 removal spells, gets rid of all 3 of Dajolla's creatures. Now MathemaTiGer is the only one with the board. He's got a 4-4 and a 3-1, and now another Gorf is a 4-5. It's quite a bit of power. That's lethal next turn if Dajolla doesn't have a blocker. He's got 11 on the board. He's got 11 life. Dajolla draws a land. So now he's only got 6 mana. He's got Angrath Marauders, which cost 7. His only play is Winota. And to block with it and hope for a good draw next turn. Unfortunately, MathemaTiGer's got the 1 ring. And it just keeps churning out cards for him. It's hard to see him losing from this point. He'll have plenty of removal spells to get rid of anything that tries to attack with Winota and to remove Winota herself. He's thinking about playing the Crackling Observer to rip the last card out of Dajolla's hand. So now he can escape the Phoenix. He's just playing all his mana to fill up the board. He sees the win. He knows he's just got to play stuff. Or he's just attacking with everything, even if he blocks 1 creature. This is not quite 1 life, but Dajolla has absolutely nothing left. Dajolla cracks the fetch and dies. And MathemaTiGer does it. He wins 2-1 and wins his 3rd Brawl Hub championship. Congratulations to MathemaTiGer. Very well played by both players. Both players played very well, but I think MathemaTiGer had a slight advantage in this matchup, just due to the number of removal spells that his deck is packing, and Winota's reliance on getting attacks off. Alright, thank you everybody for watching, and hope you enjoyed the games.